I have been married to my husband for 41 years. My father and his father were war buddies, so he and I knew each other from a very young age. We occasionally had arguments, but we lived a very happy life. When he was 65 years old, he had a rare form of cancer. We tried all kinds of treatments, but they didn't stop the cancer from spreading. There was nothing better we could do, we did what we had to do. We continued to love each other until the day he died. I will never forget what he said to me that day. He was lying in bed and his family was gathered around him. He said that he was going home and would see me again. I kept holding his hand, and when his hand became soft, I knew he was gone. I remember the doctor putting him in a body bag. Drove him to the funeral home. I went to bed that night cursing God for taking the love of my life away from me. I cried so much. My life became dark and life lost its meaning. And so it went on for a month. I stopped eating regularly, I stopped exercising every day, and all I wanted to do was be with my husband. I became so depressed that I barely talked to my kids. Everything in the house reminded me of him, and my health was getting worse and worse. I continued to curse God for taking my husband away from me. After another month, I gathered the courage to walk out of the house to the park where my husband and I used to go. There was a large lake in the park with a row of seats on the edge. My husband and I used to sit on the chairs and talk. It took me a long time to get here, because I now felt like I was struggling to walk. When I was almost to the seats, I saw someone sitting there. As I walked there, the person disappeared again. I sighed and wiped a tear from my eye. Thinking back on many things from the past made me feel even more alone. When I turned my head, I saw the man standing by the lake again. I rubbed my eyes and I thought to myself, what the hell is going on here? I suddenly felt a sharp pain in my chest, so painful that I couldn't stand up. I fell to the ground and I could smell the dirt. Then I lost consciousness. When I woke up, I saw a light. It pulled me in like a tornado. But it didn't cause any damage. I didn't know where it was taking me, only that no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't escape. I went through a tunnel, and finally, I got to the other side. I felt a very strong sense of love in this place. There are no words to describe this feeling. I heard someone talking, and it turned out to be my own voice. I heard myself cursing God over and over again. I was surprised that I was still a religious person to say such vicious words. I grew up going to church a lot because my father was a pastor. I also heard what I said to my husband during the argument, and I heard what I said to my children. The volume was amplified hundreds of times, louder and more powerful than when I said it. When the words became too much for me to bear, I prayed to God for His forgiveness. Within a few moments, the voices immediately disappeared. I found myself standing at the bottom of a throne. The light was so bright. As my eyes slowly adjusted, I could see the person sitting on the throne, but only a blurred outline was visible. The person sitting on the throne began to speak. I have heard your curse on me. I brought you here so that you could vent these resentments. Now I feel very afraid. I confess that I said those things. I feel that you took my husband away from me. He was my life and soul, he was everything to me. You took that away from me. You were right, I brought him home. His time on earth is over because she has done everything she wanted to do in her life. What do you mean he finished everything he wanted to do? I asked. In his life, he wanted to do two things. He wanted to marry his soul mate and he wanted to raise his children with the person he loved the most. The person he loves the most is also you. I couldn't wait to ask God, is he here? God answered, yes. Can I see him one last time? It seemed like a long time before I got an affirmative answer. You can see him again. God took me on a tour of heaven. We came to the lake, which was the clearest and most beautiful lake I had ever seen. He led me through the pastures. Every place he took me was too beautiful to describe in human terms. Everyone had a place here, and we came to the place he had prepared for my husband and me. It looked exactly like our house on earth. At the back of the house, I saw my husband, who was watering the flowers. God said gently, go and talk to him. I walked up to my husband and he didn't notice me. I called out his name, and he turned his head toward me, a puzzled expression appearing on his face. He asked, why are you here? Your time is not up yet. I replied, I don't know what's going on or why I'm here. Now you can't be here yet, you have to go back. He said sternly. I replied again, I miss you and life without you means nothing. He said, you have to do this, for the sake of our children. They need you. We will see each other again, we will be together forever. He kissed me gently on the cheek. I don't know how long it took for me to regain consciousness. I passed out at the edge of the lake in the park. A park ranger ran over and helped me up. Are you okay, old-timer? Yes, I am fine. How long had I been unconscious? About 2 minutes. That's impossible, I thought to myself. I feel like I've been talking to God and my husband for a long time. The administrator said, do you need to call an ambulance? I said, no need. I walked home by myself. It took me a few months to adjust myself and eventually get back to a healthy routine. These past 5 years have not been easy for me. With every birthday, I tell myself that I don't have much time left. I just hope my husband won't be mad at me for waiting too long. I always believe that my husband is waiting for me in heaven. I will see him again in the near future. And then be with him forever.